The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre.
This is 94.9 Remus Central Coast. You're with Rick, and I get the blessing today of doing the stories of transformation from Dooralong. Sitting in the chair opposite me is Angus. Angus, welcome.
Thanks, good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, glad you could come along. Angus, tell us a little bit about where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you start your life and that sort of thing?
I was actually born in Sydney and moved to Newcastle area, Lake Macquarie to be specific, when I was about 2-3 years old.
Okay.
I did move to Sydney for a period there in high school and came back to live at Newcastle. So generally basically spent my whole life in, Lake Macquarie area, which I was there before I came into Dooralong as well, yeah.
Right, okay, so your family's from that area?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
yep.
Cool. So, I guess, what led you towards the problems that ended up with you ending up at Dooralong?
Well, I do have some mental health issues stemming from, sometimes it's difficult to pinpoint where they stem from, but I guess, it's an epidemic, I guess, these days. A lot of people that suffer from mental health issues and mixed with drugs and alcohol, it's not always the best combination. So, just realised that I didn't exactly like my behaviour, and had been told from a few different people that, that I wasn't the best person when I was drinking and things like that, and I sort of decided that it's something that I hadn't tried before and hadn't been sober since I was a teenager, so I would like to go into recovery and give that a try, become a better person.
How old were you when you started to, I guess, get into addictive behaviour, whether it was, I don't know, what you started with, alcohol or tobacco or whatever? High school I started smoking marijuana, I guess I was about 14, 15 years old. Alcohol was a little bit earlier. Alcohol as well, about the same, but became a bit of a problem for me around the same time, I guess. Did you have like a family culture where alcohol was just there all the time, or it was outside the family? That
Not exactly. I can't really blame the family culture. Mum sort of doesn't drink at all, really. So it was more me going out, being a menace and getting drunk with my mates underage when I shouldn't have, and abusing alcohol quite heavily,
Yeah. So it became a peer group thing to just fit in.
I think it started with me wanting to have fun and everyone's doing it, and you don't exactly realise that, when you're young, you don't realise that you shouldn't be doing it. Everyone's doing it. It's culture. We've got, I guess, a binge drinking culture in this country, unfortunately, and other countries, I guess. But until you get a bit older and get a bit wiser, you don't realise that it can cause problems for you in your life. Some people are lucky, some people are a little bit more unlucky that it does become a problem for them,
Yeah, whether you're sort of on that prone to addiction sort of path.
Yeah.
What made you realise it was a problem? Other than being just, this is what everyone does.
I guess, only recently, before coming into Dooralong, did I realise that I had a problem. I mean, I did realise a bit before that I had a problem with marijuana, but, the fact that I was spending all my money on alcohol, and just putting alcohol before food and things like that, like living out of home, I'd spend my money on alcohol and then, go out partying a couple of nights and all my pay would be gone. Yeah. And I'm not feeding myself properly. I'm putting alcohol over, groceries and things like that. And, not really having great career prospects and things like that when I'm going on 28 at the moment, and all I've done is worked and partied in the hospitality industry and not really done much. I've got friends with you know, houses and girlfriends and getting married and having kids and things like that. So
you realise you drank all that stuff.
I'm a bit of the black sheep or something like that, you know.
Fair enough. And we are here chatting with Angus from Dooralong Transformation Centre, hearing a little bit about his journey. And Angus, we're just talking off air a bit about, even though you'd recognised at this point you started to have a problem with alcohol addiction, you were still able to maintain a full-time job and work quite functionally and all that.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I could call myself a functioning alcoholic. I mean, a lot of the time I was actually, you know, employed casually as well, so I got away without having too much responsibility of a full-time position. But yeah, I mean, spare time was spent, you know, drinking on my own and things like that. You know, but yeah, of course, I was able to function quite well, perhaps not as well as I should have been, but yeah, able to hold down a job.
It wasn't causing you to get sacked and be absent all the time and all that.
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
I mean, I guess I moved on from a couple of places I was living at because of alcoholism and things like that. But yeah, for the most part, I was okay. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have one of the lucky ones that it didn't interfere with my life too much, you know.
Yeah. So what areas of hospitality were you doing?
I started off working front of house as a waiter, so I've been a waiter, a bartender, and more recently I've done some kitchen work as a kitchen hand and things like that. So yeah. So was being a bartender a challenge when you got alcohol problems? I mean, a little bit. Yeah. It's always there, and you know, drinks after work and things like that wasn't too bad, but you know, after work, you know, perhaps clubbing and things like that, you know, go out and Okay, so you're working away and you're in your early 20s, and you know, everything's okay except you're looking around, some of your friends are sort of prioritising their spending differently, I guess you could say. Yeah. Where did you sort of get to the point of saying, I need help with this, I'm not in control? I guess recently, before coming into Dooralong, admittedly drink driving a fair bit. So I was lucky enough not to get caught, but I'd go out for beers on my own as well if I had no one to drink with, you know. And I'd always drink drive, you know. I'm thinking, you know, this isn't really the way I want to be living, you know, like it's just going to create problems for me in my life. I'm going to hurt someone else on the roads or something like that. And I don't want to live with that on my conscience, as well as the fact that sometimes I could drink a bit too much and you know, might say something off cuff to someone or something like that and behave inappropriately, and I just wake up the next day with regret, you know, and remorse, and think, oh God, again, like I didn't say that or do that, So
how were your relationships going at this point? How was like relationship with family and friends?
Not too bad. I mean, I'd been told that I shouldn't be drinking by close friends and things like that, because also because of medication that I'm on because of mental health condition. So you know, not a good combination. And I guess they thought, you know, as well that I, you know, just wasn't getting my life on track, wasn't doing the right things. I'd rather be, you know, just drinking and doing that rather than doing much else, you know.
Were your family sort of at the point of saying, Angus has got a problem here, we need to encourage him to get help, or?
I think I took the lead to go into Dooralong. You know, my mum sort of said, really, you think you've got a drinking problem? I said, yeah. Okay.
So you're able to hide it reasonably well then?
Yeah. Yeah, I was, yeah, I guess. I mean, they'd say things from time to time. But yeah, I was able to hide it quite well, yeah.
You were living at home with your parents at that time?
Prior to coming into to Dooralong, I was living with my mother at home. Yeah,
okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because often it's the family will pick up the problem before you are aware of it yourself. But obviously, you were quite conscious of it yourself. So.
Yeah.
How did you go? I know Dooralong usually has a bit of a waiting list. So how did that process work for you? I mean, how did you get yourself there?
Yeah, I was stoked because after a night out, I actually took myself into Salvation Army at near Beaumont Street in Newcastle, and I said I told them I wanted to go to rehab. So I knew about Dooralong because of I know a couple of people that have been in there.
Okay.
And I was really fortunate to have got in there so quickly because I was told that a lot of people wait a long time to get in there, and I was one of the lucky ones. I got in there within a few weeks. They said, "Can you come in tomorrow?" I had already been sober for a couple of weeks and went to a couple of meetings and managed to do that, so I didn't have to go into detox, and spoke to Barry, and he said, "Yeah, well, you can come in tomorrow." So I was straight there. Yeah.
Well, that's really good because, I mean, we've heard the stories that sometimes it's months and months before people get in, so clearly someone was looking after you.
Yeah.
And here we have Angus with us today. So, Angus, you drive up or get driven up to the gates of Dooralong. What are your first thoughts?
First thoughts, I guess, wow, what a really nice place to, the drive there, it's, you realise that you're going out to a property, and I was thinking, what a great place to recover and transform, wide open spaces at that point were very attractive to me after your life's been chaotic for some time.
So you go in there and obviously you do a bit of an orientation thing where they lay down the ground rules of how this will all work and the routines for the day and that sort of stuff. And what's your state of mind at this? Are you sort of resisting what's going on? You're thinking, no, this is fantastic, this is really what I need, or somewhere in between those?
Well, I hear a lot of people talk about doing their recovery for other people, for their family, and not wanting it at that time. I think you've really got to be ready and willing to do it yourself. And since I had made the first move to want to go to Dooralong, I was in a positive mind frame and thought, what, this will be really good, and I thought I'd give it my best shot. I didn't have any reservations about wanting to do the program.
Okay. And obviously you'd already heard about Dooralong, you knew a bit about it. How did the faith aspect impact you? Is that something you had any history of, or was that something you think, well, I'm going to be here and get my act together, I'm not going to get any of this religious stuff happening? Or
no, well, I've been a believer in God since 2013, so I've had a relationship with God since then. So yeah, I saw it as a positive. I'm always willing to learn because, admittedly, I haven't read too much of the Bible and things like that. So I've got a long way to go in terms of learning about all this sort of stuff, but no, definitely it was also attractive to me, that side of things, the fact that it's a spiritual program, and they reinforce that you need a God or a higher power to help you. We can't do it on our own, by ourselves.
I know the way they break it down out there's a lot of different units and different areas. Which ones have you found really helpful on your journey to recovery?
Do you mean like the meetings and compared to the groups and things like that?
Yeah, which parts of the program have really worked for you?
The meetings, definitely. I'd have to say the meetings, I get a lot out of them. And once you progress to level 1 and above, you get to go to the outhouse meetings, which is really good. So, when I first got there, I was going to meetings all the time. The in-house meetings, I was going to like one every night, got a lot out of them and enjoyed the experience, hearing other people share and sharing myself, and now I really enjoy going to the outhouses as well. So for me, personally, the meetings are the highlight and something that I'd like to keep up after I leave. I should keep up anyway, yeah.
Yeah. You found the chapel services? Because I know we've been along to a couple of them and they're a bit of a fun night.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really good. It's good. It brings everyone together. You know, everyone's doing their work duties and things during the week, and you know, that the chapel's really positive, I guess, to recognise people that have there's awards for things like people who've done really well in, you know, the Dooralong community and things like that. It brings people together, and bit of music and a really nice feed, and families get the opportunities to visit on chapel night, which is good as well. So I mean, yeah, no, it's good. That and I'd say that and the other one, karaoke. That's the two things that
haven't experienced that one.
Yeah, that sort of bring people together a little bit, and
So I know they tackle various issues like the whole areas of forgiveness, self-esteem, all that sort of stuff. Have you found certain areas of that have really helped you?
Yeah, I mean, the steps, I'm still learning about the steps. The 12 steps, it's a 12-step program out at Dooralong. And yeah, I mean, I'm on my step 4 at the moment. But I do need to forgive others and forgive myself for things that have happened in my life, and definitely need to make amends to other people that's part of the program. So yeah, it's really important to I just try to listen to what other people tell me, and that it's important to work the steps. You know, if they say if you leave Dooralong the same person that you walked in, you actually work the program and do the right things. Otherwise, you know, you won't see transformation. So
now you've been there, I think you said 14 weeks.
Yeah, about
roughly.
14 weeks. Yeah.
So in that time, obviously you've gotten to know a few people in there. Have you even noticed amongst the other residents there changes in them that have encouraged you to say, I can actually get through this?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen people, you know, I'm quite sorry, just trying to think of the word, switched on about, you know, just seeing changes in other people. You know, sometimes it might take a few weeks and you'll think, hold on, that person's a bit more relaxed and a little less edgy than when they came in. You know, they've sobered up and cleaned up, and it's really really rewarding and positive to see other people that have changed, even in the little ways, because the little ways count. I mean, they build up to the big ways, and it gives you hope that, you know, you can see it firsthand that the program works, and, you know, it reinforces the fact that it can also and will also work for you if you do the right things.
There's a real culture out there, isn't there, of encouragement, and you mentioned the chapel services, the recognition, little awards for, you know, little milestones along the way. How important do you think that is, that people get that feedback on, hey, you're actually making progress?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, broken people when they come into Dooralong, you know, and for some people just to get an award to recognise that they've done something good. You know, they might not have got an award before about doing something good in the community, and that can really go a long way in someone's life. So you know, just a little award of encouragement. So
excellent. Okay, take a break for another song, and we'll come back and we'll talk about where to from here for Angus. Angus from Dooralong. I know you're still fairly early in the program, about 14 weeks in, and, you know, there's a fair way to go there. But you must be already starting to think about life beyond Dooralong and what that's going to look like. What's your thoughts? Where do you see that going?
Yeah, I definitely think about it. I try not to get too ahead of myself, because I do think about it daily, what my next move is. But life for me looks like, you know, I need a support network when I leave, so that I'm going to keep up with meetings. That's going to be a big part of my life. Yeah, I guess I need to take. I would like to really take up surfing, something, get out in the ocean and do that sort of thing, just to help me. A lot of the time in addiction, that sort of rules everything. Like what do I do for fun? Yeah, go out for beers, but I'm going to
You've got to find something else to take that place. Yeah,
replace that with surfing and bit of music, guitar and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I need to find somewhere to live that will be good for me, and surround myself with those sort of supportive people. So I'm not exactly sure where I'll be going after Dooralong, but it's something that I do think about. So yeah.
Have you hooked in with one of the local churches? I know a lot of the Dooralong people do visit various churches.
Yeah, so we've got church on Sundays that we go to. Yep. So I go to Bonnells Bay Church. Okay. So after leaving, I may choose to go to a church. It's just a matter of finding the right one for me, one I feel comfortable in and everything. And it depends on where I'll be situated, where I'll be living, in terms of where I can go and things like that. So yeah.
Employment-wise, going back into the hospitality industry could be a bit of a minefield.
Yeah, definitely. It's no secret that hospitality is riddled with, drugs and alcohol abuse and things like that, and the party lifestyle, and then, whether you're a chef or front of house, I think even more in the kitchen, as well as, got a reputation for lots of drugs and alcohol. So I'm not exactly sure. I may do further study, but that's also something I need to consider, I need to consider what's going to be good for me. If hospitality is not going to be good for me and my mental state and my well-being, then perhaps it's time for a career change, to keep myself well, because my number one priority is obviously to stay clean and sober. Everything else can be secondary. I mean, there's plenty of jobs out there. So yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned off air earlier you've done some training in other areas in communications, I think you said.
Yeah.
Is that maybe an area you'd look to explore?
Yeah, well, I have been thinking I'd like to, I majored in media production. I'd like to perhaps go back to TAFE and do, I think they offer a course called sound production or music production or something like that, and pursue my dreams, because I never really did anything with my degree, unfortunately, and to get to really focus on that this time and push myself, and I mean, a job like that in sort of music production or something, a sound engineer, you may have to move to a different location within Australia or somewhere, to pursue that. But that's something I'd be willing to do, because it's something that I'm passionate about, music and things like that. But I'll see. I'll have to see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Angus, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your heart and your life and what's going on out there. And we pray that the future goes well through Dooralong and beyond. And I just want to pick up something you've said probably 15 times, is that word, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
You're blessed, mate. Yeah. God's hand is on you, and He's getting you through this. And luck's not in this. This is purpose on your life. And there's plans ahead for you. So I want to encourage you in that hang on to your dreams. You've got them, and you come across as willing to pay the price for those dreams. And obviously, the first one, as you said, is get free of this thing that's holding you back.
Yeah.
And just want to encourage you in that. And you've done well so far. And Samuel here sitting next to you is certainly encouraging you in that as well. So hang on to what they're giving you there. And all the best for the future, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 rema.cc.